Hi, welcome to the Ultimate Sports Blog Podcast. Today is Tuesday, January 9th, 2018. I'm Madison Miller. Today I want to recap the amazing national championship game for college football, the NFL Wild Card weekend, preview the divisional round for next weekend, go over a couple NFL coaching hires and some rumors. So first off with the championship game. Wow. Unbelievable game. Nick Saban with a very ballsy decision to bench Jalen Hurts at halftime to go with young freshman Tua Tagovailoa. And he helped him lead the way for the Crimson Tide to pick up their sixth national title under Nick Saban. Tagovailoa had 166 yards, 3 touchdowns, and a pick. Jake Fromm of Georgia, 232 yards, a touchdown, and 2 picks. Incredible game all around. They were scoreless after one. Georgia hit 2 field goals to make it 6-0, and right before halftime, Mecole Hardman ran it in for a 1-yard score to make it 13-0 at the half. Then Saban goes to Tua, and then Tua throws a 6-yard touchdown pass to Henry Ruggs, and Bama gets within 6. And Jake Fromm with the immediate answer to Hardman. They go up 20-7, and then Alabama goes on the board and gets within 10 with a field goal. And then fourth quarter begins. Alabama gets a field goal to get within 7, and then eventually a couple turnovers from actually both sides throughout the third and fourth quarters, and then eventually with 3:49 to go, Calvin Ridley caught a Tua touchdown pass, and we were tied at 20. And then the kicker, Andy Papanastis, missed the potential game-winning field goal, or what would have been the game-winning field goal, and that forced overtime. And Georgia actually got on the board first in overtime with a 51-yard field goal. And then the amazing how Alabama won this, it was in the first play of overtime, Tua got sacked, and on 2nd and 26 throws the game-winning, championship-winning touchdown pass to Devontae Smith. That was just an all-time game and one of the best national championship games you'll ever see. College football's been lucky the past few years. We've had a couple good ones. Obviously, last year's with Bama and Clemson was good. The year before with Bama and Clemson was good. Auburn, Florida State was a good one a few years back. But yeah, college football got a treat, and what could beat that? NFL Wild Card weekend was also interesting with some of its results. The first game of the playoffs, the Titans upset the Chiefs 22-21. The Chiefs led at halftime 21-3. Their star tight end Travis Kelce gets hurt, gets a concussion. He's out for the rest of the game, and the game changed. And of course, everybody's blaming the Chiefs and mocking the Chiefs for blowing the lead, and Andy Reid, and typical Chiefs lose in the first round of the playoffs. But you got to give credit to the Titans and Marcus Mariota for the comeback. And what got Tennessee going was Marcus Mariota threw a touchdown pass literally to himself to get them within 11 in the third quarter to make the score 21-10. And the sneaky thing about the touchdown pass to himself was that Darrelle Revis deflected it, and Marcus Mariota caught it and ran it in. And then after that, in the fourth quarter, Derrick Henry had the big run, and they failed on the 2-point conversion in 21-16. And then 8 minutes later, Marcus Mariota throws a touchdown pass to Eric Decker to make it 22-21. 2-point conversion failed, and that's how you ended up with 22-21. Credit the Titans for that comeback. Mike Mularkey saved his job, and on they go to Foxborough to face New England on Saturday night. The Falcons upset the Rams 26-13 on Saturday night. Matt Ryan was pretty good. 218 yards and a touchdown. That's pretty much all he needed. Jared Goff wasn't all that great in the first half. 259 yards and a touchdown. Julio Jones came up with a touchdown for them. And the thing is with this game is if the Rams punt returner didn't fumble twice, this is an entirely different ball game, and we're talking about the Rams going to Minnesota and not the Saints. And on the Sunday's games, Jacksonville beat the Bills 10-3. Neither quarterback was great. The game was ugly. Tyrod Taylor threw 134 yards and a pick. Blake Bortles, believe it or not, had more rushing yards than passing yards. He had 87 passing yards and a touchdown pass. And he had 88 rushing yards. And give credit to the Jaguars' defense. They held their own. LaShawn McCoy did play, and he was pretty good. He had 75 yards rushing and 44 yards receiving. And now the question is for the Bills whether they keep Tyrod Taylor around. I mentioned the Saints before. They beat the Panthers 31-26. That was a fun game. Drew Brees was terrific. 376 yards, 2 touchdowns and a pick. Cam Newton was terrific as well. 349 yards and 2 touchdowns. This game turned into a shootout in the second half. Scary moment in this game was that Cam Newton was thought to have a concussion, and he was sidelined for a couple plays. Derek Anderson filled in, and then Cam Newton came back and got with the Panthers within 5 with the big pass to Christian McCaffrey to make it 31-26. New Orleans goes to Minnesota. That's probably the best playoff game in this round. And the other 3 games being Atlanta at Philly. Atlanta's -3. And this is the first time a 1 seed in the divisional round is a home underdog. Well, they should be a home underdog without Carson Wentz. And that's the early game on Saturday. The night game Saturday night, I mentioned it before. Titans go to New England. New England's -13.5. A rematch from one of the early games in the season. Jacksonville goes to Pittsburgh. This was a game where Ben Roethlisberger had the worst game of his career when he threw 5 interceptions. And Blake Bortles wasn't great in that game as well, if I recall. And Pittsburgh is -7.5, and they should have Antonio Brown back for that one. And then, as I mentioned, Saints at the Vikings. Minnesota's a 4-point favorite. And I think, if I didn't mention this, Pittsburgh's -7.5 in this game. And the Saints and the Vikings, another thing about them is that they played week 1, and the Vikings won 29-19. And that was when Dalvin Cook was healthy. Sam Bradford was their quarterback. And on the flip side for the Saints, Adrian Peterson was on their team. And nobody knew who Alvin Kamara was yet. So that's that. Earlier today, the Raiders introduced John Gruden. And I thought the Raiders were a little over the top with the press conference by showing all the highlights of ESPN's Adam Schefter breaking the story that Gruden was going to be the Raiders coach, and how it was pretty much a no-brainer on New Year's Day. And they also showed Sean McDonough, his broadcast partner of ESPN, saying goodbye to him on the broadcast. But yeah, I thought it was a little over the top, but we'll see how it goes. I mentioned on my previous podcast how the splashy hires haven't really worked out all that well over the past couple years, but we'll see here. And I'm talking about in all of sports, not just the NFL, in terms of big-name splash hires. And then the Bears hired Matt Nagy is their new head coach. He was the offensive coordinator of the Chiefs, and he actually followed Andy Reid around. He was with the Eagles, and then went with Andy Reid to the Chiefs. Was Alex Smith's quarterback coach, and then was promoted to offensive coordinator. Now he's with the Bears. I think that's a nice hire, but we'll see. You never know with these coaching hires. And then lastly, I want to bring up the rumors about Bill Belichick leaving the Patriots in wake of this report about the Garoppolo and all this drama with Alex Guerrero, Tom Brady's trainer. I think it was a little overblown. The media was covering it way too much, and I think the New York media is obsessing with the idea that Belichick could leave and come to the Giants. I just think they're just throwing out fake news, and I don't think Bill Belichick's leaving the Patriots, and I don't think Tom Brady's going anywhere either. They just have to find the next Garoppolo, and there's that, and the Patriots are favorites to win the Super Bowl, so I don't see Belichick or Brady going anywhere. Next podcast I'll do is either going to be tomorrow or Thursday, depends on how the week goes. Maybe I'll get into some college hoops and some NBA, and I'll make my picks for the division round and more. Have a nice day, everybody.